Alright guys, what is going on? I'm Tubby Emu. Hit that like button for Brock Lesnar, my boy Brock Lesnar. We're talking about Brock Lesnar because I've gotten a couple messages. And if you guys want me to talk about something, hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/Tubby Emu, or send me a YouTube message, and I'm going to give my thought on this in this swagtastic subject about Brock Lesnar. Now, everybody's been asking, Tubby, what do you think about Brock Lesnar, Tubby? You're the only one that matters. We want to know your opinion. And, well, thank you for saying that, because it does mean a lot. Brock Lesnar, what can I say about him? Did some absolutely crazy shit in the WWE, and the first thing that comes to mind that I always think of is what he did to Big Show at, God, I don't even remember what pay-per-view it is, but on the forklift type thing, jumps from the top of it in the ring, and does that, like, shoulder block to Big Show. Absolutely mind-blowing when it comes to Brock Lesnar. Now, my opinion on Brock is probably going to vary from a lot of you guys. Now, I liked Brock Lesnar. You know, I remember when he first started, and, you know, when Kurt Angle first started, and there were guys that could actually wrestle. They were collegiate athletes. And it's kind of like a different breed of athletes, because, like, when you come to UFC, a lot of the guys, and I don't know much about UFC, but they always talk about it's different to go from a collegiate wrestling experience into real wrestling or UFC MMA type thing. And for Brock to be so successful is awesome. Now, am I a huge fan of Brock Lesnar? I can't necessarily that I'm a huge fan of Brock. And there's really no reason, you know. I know he left the WWE to go try UFC, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think he went, like, 5-3, something like that in UFC. I'm not exactly sure what his record was. But in the last fight he had against All-Star Overeem, and he lost, and he said he was going to retire. His body can't handle it. You know, he can't take punches, everything that he's gone through, the surgeries he's had, and not liking to travel. JR was very... Jim Ross was very adamant about how much Brock Lesnar hated to travel. And the biggest part of a WWE, you know, superstar schedule is traveling. They are all over. You know, it's not a glamorous work schedule, but you do get to go to places like, you know, all over the United States. You're in Canada, you're in Spain, you're in England, you're in Dubai, you're in all these places. You basically get to travel the world, and it's awesome. But at the same time, a lot of these athletes and superstars aren't built for traveling all the time. They don't want to travel all the time. And that was one of the biggest things that, you know, came around when Brock said he was going to retire. People are like, oh, he's going to come back to the WWE. And people don't realize how much he hated to travel. It was very well documented how much he hated it. And I don't blame him. I mean, you know, in UFC, you could train, you know, for fights, and then one or two times you have to have a fight, you travel and you go fight. You know, but for Brock to come back to the WWE is, I think it would probably eventually happen. A one-time thing, WrestleMania 29, WrestleMania 30. I don't think he would ever come back just to go full-time. I highly doubt he ever will, unless he gets completely strapped for cash. I don't think he could handle it, first of all. And, you know, I don't know exactly with what his body. He can't take body shots, if that would affect him in the WWE. But what I do know is, I don't know if I'd want to see him back. You know, you had all these guys that were great in their prime. They were awesome. We'd love to see them. But then when they leave and come back, you know, to see him in TNA, you know, Brock's a little different because he is younger. He's still pretty athletic. But guys like Hogan and Sting, where they're out of their prime, it's just not as exciting to see him wrestle. And I would prefer to see Brock Lesnar not come back. But that is just my opinion. If you guys want to leave your opinion, you can in the description below. But there was all these talks about him possibly coming back for WrestleMania 29. There was talks about him coming back this year, which made no sense at all. Way too early in the year, in my personal opinion. But I think what'll make Brock Lesnar come back, you know, obviously Paul Heyman's a huge part of Brock, and I think what would bring Brock back, I think it would be cool to see Brock versus Undertaker at End Streak. I think that in itself would be absolutely amazing, and that's a lot of people leave that in the comments about Brock and him Personally, though, guys, I want to know, do you want to see Brock Lesnar back? I'm going to say Brock comes back one last time, but that's about it, guys. My name is Tubby Moon. Tubby out.